I was just in Kansas City. NCAA National Wrestling Tournament's going on, and Kansas City has very good barbecue. I'm sure you're aware of that. Then you can start debating, if you're a barbecue person, of who has the better barbecue. You can do Kansas City, you can bring in St. Louis, you can talk about Texas barbecue, just for example. But if you are, in fact, a barbecue person, you're not going to come to the conclusion that one of those sucks. Oh, that sucks. It's not like that. They're all very good, but they are all different. And I think that it's a fun debate. I think it's fun to try them all. Now, what you might not know is hamburgers have 3 styles. And I fancy myself as a critic of hamburgers. I just fancy myself that way. And there are a couple of things that will drive me crazy. I mean, it will like get my blood boiling, and that's weird. I fully acknowledge that that's weird. But the reason I bring up Kansas City and I tell you about burgers is most people don't know there's 3 ways to do a burger. You have flame broiled, think of Burger King. You have fried, think of McDonald's. But there's another way to do a burger, and it's called Kansas City style. So, real simple, but think of your pan that you would normally throw the burger in if you were at home, and you're gonna fry up for yourself, okay? You fill that with oil. Then when you make your burger over here on the side and you smash it down, you get your burger ready, you take your spatula, you come underneath, you pick the patty up, and then it never leaves the spatula. A Kansas City style burger will not leave the spatula. It will just cook in that hot oil. Generally, this is done with a very thin patty. You pull it up once it's cooked, you put your cheese on top, and now cheese and beef still attached to the spatula lowers back in very briefly, melts the cheese real quick. You pull it up, you kind of move the spatula up and down a couple of times, but you'll place it straight from that onto the bun. It's not like, for example, bacon, where you take the bacon out and you put it in the paper towel and you roll it up and you get the grease off. It's not like that. You will put it right into the bun. Therefore, because of that grease, you won't use a topping like, say, mayonnaise. Now, I have always wanted to have a Kansas City burger. I've never had one. Everything that I just told you, and I've got all those ingredients at home, and I love burgers, I've never made myself one. And I've never been anywhere, including in Kansas City, where they make them. It's labor intensive. So even though you're in Kansas City, getting a Kansas City burger is kind of hard. They're either going to grill them or they're going to fry them for the most part. That's been my experience, to great disappointment. But I do have a problem with the idea that you wouldn't have mayonnaise. Like, for me, if there's no mayonnaise, you now don't have a sandwich. A great example. You've heard of Geno's Philly cheesesteaks. And the worst place in America to get a Philly cheesesteak is in Philadelphia. It is easily the worst. One, they won't have mayonnaise. Now, that's a personal choice. You might want mayonnaise, you might not. But just so you know, they won't even have it in the kitchen. If you wanted to add lettuce and tomato to your Philly cheesesteak, they won't even have lettuce and tomato in the kitchen. It won't even exist. I only share that with you. You could go to a chain restaurant such as Jersey Mike's. You get a 57 California style, which means they're going to put lettuce, tomato, and mayonnaise. Thus, in my opinion, make it a sandwich. I don't think you can have a sandwich if you don't have mayonnaise. And I bring that up because I had people talking to me about how good a burger was in Kansas City. First off, they didn't even know there was 3 ways to do it. They didn't know that the Kansas City style is the 3rd unknown practice. Bagels are a great one, where people on the West Coast have argued and debated for decades why an East Coast bagel is better than you can do it here. And essentially, the argument has come down to water. East Coast water. And it is not true. You ever hear those people that try to tell you eating a bowl of white rice is the same as eating a bowl of white sugar? I mean, do you ever hear just this insanity where you just, oh my God, please stop talking. And these people have like degrees in colleges in nutrition, and they're telling you this nonsense? And you just have to sit and listen to it? And I tell you that because you can have water shipped in, and the bagel isn't going to taste the same. And it comes down to an labor-intensive element that they do in the East Coast. And it requires one extra step. The West Coast doesn't do it. They don't even know about it. So they're having bottles of water shipped in and wondering why people aren't lining up to have their pizza. All right. I bring you all of this because when I'm in Kansas City and I get the advice of where to go to have a burger, I will always do the same thing when I get somebody's advice, which is I will simply look that burger up, go right online, and I will check one thing, which is their onion. If you use a red onion, if a red onion is standard, you're out. And these aren't Chael's rules, these are the rules. A red onion is offensive. It's like blue cheese. What's my favorite dressing? Blue cheese. But I'm well aware that it's an offensive taste that somebody's going to like or they're not. The only time a red onion should ever even be discussed is if you're doing a backdoor cookout. You might put those on a platter for somebody to choose or to pass over on their own. No restaurant should ever put a red onion. And you find out right away, is that chef and is that kitchen aware of how to do a hamburger just based on that? That and that alone. It's like going to a buffet. The staple of the buffet is the mashed potatoes with gravy. That's it. You don't have to try the entire buffet. You can go and try that. Is it appetizing looking? Is it appetizing tasting? And then go from there. If you ever want to know about a Mexican restaurant, you don't go in and try the enchilada or the taco. You try the chili relleno. That will then be a staple that will tell you everything that you need to know about that kind of a restaurant. So when I go online and I see that they have a red onion, I can't believe this. I can't believe that this is what was suggested to me. So now I keep looking, and sure enough, as I would have predicted, 4 toppings, you can have ketchup and mustard, or no ketchup and mustard, or extra ketchup and mustard. There's not even mayonnaise. It's not even an option. And now you know full well this person doesn't know how to make a burger. There's a top 10 list that gets put out for burgers. FYI, when I tell you these aren't just Chael's rules, these are the rules. There's a top 10 list nationwide that gets put out for hamburgers. Never on that list. Never. They've been keeping track of this for 30 years, 28 to be exact. Never has somebody with a red onion broken into the top 10. As a matter of fact, and it was a chain. I'm trying to think of who it was. It was a chain, a well-known chain. Oh, I got it right in the top of my head. It's not Five Guys. Got it right in the top of my head. They got put honorable mention. Honorable mention, they had an asterisk by it. If you got to the bottom of the article, they put by the asterisk, red onion. There was no McDonald's, there was no Burger King, there was no Sonic, there was no Five Guys. I mean, I'm talking about the big ones that you've heard of, not to mention the mom and pop shops like Stanish's, which is the absolute best burger that's ever been made. None of them on that list in 28 years have a red onion. It's a very big deal. Now, you might pass on onions completely, and you might even be a guy who goes, I prefer red onion. I'm not telling you you don't prefer red onion. I'm telling you if a restaurant puts a red onion forward on a burger as opposed to a white or a yellow, which should always be a Walla Walla Street, but sweet. But either way, you now know that person is not a burger guy, and he doesn't know how to make a burger right. That would only be step 1. You would then go to step number 2, which is you would want a picture of the burger. Now, a proper burger will always be built top up, not top down. Always. So you can look at that in the picture as well, right? So you got your bottom side of the bun. Did the lettuce go there, or did the patty go there? Correct answer, what it had better be, is the lettuce. You don't put lettuce and tomato and pickles on top of your beef. Beef goes on last. Beef goes on the top part of the bun. It's simple things, but it matters. As I'm looking to go to the NCAAs next year, which are in Philadelphia, this conversation is already beginning. And people are, I'm going to go there, and I'm going to go to Gino's, and I'm going to get a cheesesteak. It's like, go right ahead, but be prepared to be disappointed. The worst cheesesteak you could get, Ruth Bader Ginsburg weighed in on something similar. It was on Letterman, and Letterman asked her, is a hot dog a sandwich? And you've probably heard that like a joke going around, but she officially weighed in, and the answer was yes. If a meat between enclosed in a 2-sided case of bread is a sandwich, then hot dog by definition would be a sandwich. But if you don't have mayonnaise, I don't believe you have a sandwich. And if you have a red onion, standard on the menu, you don't have a person that knows how to make a hamburger.